Mr. Chairman, and the Credentials Committee, my name is Mrs. Fannie Lou Hamer, and I live at 626 East Lafayette Street, Ruleville, Mississippi, Sunflower County. That's how I started my testimony that Saturday in August at the Democratic National Convention when we tried to be seated as delegates, 68 of us, legally elected according to party rules from the Mississippi Freedom Democratic Party. Then I went on to say, and in June the 9th, 1963, I had attended a voter registration workshop, was returning back to Mississippi. 10 of us was traveling by the Continental Trailway bus. When we got to Winona, Mississippi, I got off the bus to see what happened. When 4 of our group who tried to go into the restaurant was ordered out, I was told that the police told them to leave. The 4 were placed in a patrol car, and I went to see what was happening. Somebody screamed from the car that the 4 workers were in and said, "Get that one there." And when I went to get in the car, when the man told me I was under arrest, he kicked me. I was carried to the county jail. They booked us and began to place us in cells. I was placed in a cell with a young woman called Miss Edythe Simpson. After I was placed in the cell, I began to hear the screams and sounds and kicks of horrible screams. And it wasn't too long before 3 white men came to my cell. One of these men was a state highway patrolman, and he used a curse word, and he said, "We're going to make you wish you were dead." I was carried out of that cell into another cell where they had 2 Negro prisoners. The state highway patrolman ordered the first Negro to take the blackjack. The first Negro prisoner ordered me, by orders from the state highway patrol officer, for me to lay down on a bunk bed on my face, and I laid on my face. The first Negro began to beat, and I was beat by the first Negro until he was exhausted. And I was holding my hands behind me at the time on my left side because I suffered from polio when I was 6 years old. After the first Negro had beat until he was exhausted, the second state highway patrolman ordered the second Negro to take the blackjack. The second Negro began to beat, and I began to work my feet. And the state highway patrolman ordered the first Negro who had beat to sit on my feet to keep me from working my feet. I began to scream, and one white man got up and began to beat my head and told me to hush. All of this on account we want to register to become first-class citizens. And if the Freedom Democratic Party is not seated now, I question America. Is this America, the land of the free and the home of the brave, where we have to sleep with our telephones off of the hooks because our lives be threatened daily, because we want to live as decent human beings in America? You know that we were not seated during that convention. That would not happen until later. But that next day, on Saturday, we staged a protest outside of the convention hall. We had signs, we sat and we stood, and we sang the songs of freedom, because no matter what they tried to do to us, we ain't gonna let nobody turn us around. We're going to keep on a-walking and keep on a-talking, walking up to freedom land.